Welcome back, guys. We are here for our fourth color. We're doing the red limited set review for Dominaria United. As always, we have Yanks on the call with us for our review. How you doing, Yanks?
Good. How's everybody doing tonight?
I'm doing well. So if you guys missed, we had introduction, white, blue, and black already up on the YouTube, so make sure you guys go check that out if you missed it. But we will be doing all of the rest of the colors here in the next day or so. So I hope you guys enjoy them. And don't forget to leave me a comment and let me know what you think of each individual color. I'd love to hear your opinions and thoughts about them. All right, we have a Berserker here. We're kicking it off with our first red card. 3 mana for a core Berserker with Enlist. When it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. Wow, this is the first Enlist creature that I've actually really liked.
Yeah, agreed. The 3 toughness is nice, so they can't trade with, most of your 2-drops can't trade for it.
Yep.
And a lot of times you're going to get a 2-for-1 or at least like a free bolt to the face.
Yeah, that's it actually has an incentive to most of the enlist cards that we saw, it was like, okay, you turn your 2/2/2s into a 2/4, it still trades with their 2/2, it doesn't really matter, and all you did was nothing. You did 2 less damage, it felt really bad. Whereas this actually feels like it does something and it makes blocking very difficult. I'm very high on this. I feel like this is a 3 for me.
Yeah, I think so too. This is what you want your enlist creatures to be doing.
Awesome. We have a Chaotic Transformation, 6 mana for a sorcery that says exile up to 1 target artifact, up to 1 target creature, up to 1 target enchantment, and target planeswalker and or target land. For each permanent exiled this way, its controller reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a card that shares the card type with it. Put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Okay. So this is a really fantastic way to mill yourself out.
It won't mill yourself because you'll shuffle everything back in.
Okay. I saw exile, and then I didn't read the then shuffles bit. Okay, well, I mean, It's sorcery, so it's not like in response to removal. You could upgrade like a token and another crappy thing maybe. This seems very constructed nonsense.
Yeah, this is like commander nonsense. This is not meant for limited. It's also just an incredibly irritating card because if you manage to target, let's say not planeswalkers for this, but the other, 4 things, you have to shuffle 4 times, which is incredibly irritating.
You don't get to keep doing it until you get one of everything?
Well, you do it for artifacts, but then you have to, in case everything that you exiled has to get shuffled back in before you then do it for creatures.
Really? I just kind of, I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, because it's 4 each.
For each permanent exile this way. Okay, yeah, I guess you do that clause 4 times. I just kind of assumed you were going to keep going until you hit all 4, and then you just call it a day. But yeah, that was the lazy way about going about it. Yeah, and this is constructed. Why are we talking about this? This is a limited set review. We're not spending any more time on it. It's a 1. Moving on.
Yeah.
We have a War Brute for a 4 mana 3/4 with Enlist and Trample. Okay, now we have another Enlist creature that has some benefit for actually enlisting. So I was not happy with the white Enlist creatures. I am starting to be very happy with Enlist as it pertains to red. So, it's a filler. It's a 3/4 for 4, which is a fine rate. But it has base trample, so even if you're not enlisting, it still feels pretty solid. 3/4s seem decently sized in the format.
Yeah, I think this card's fine. I like the last enlist creature better, but this is still good.
Yeah.
It's weird for an attacking mechanic. What you actually want on these creatures is toughness.
Yeah. I agree with that. And this feels fine to me. I'm okay with this. I think this is probably... It's still probably a 2/5/3. It feels like it's doing exactly what I want my red enlist creatures to be doing.
Yeah, I think I've got it as a 2/5. I think it is. I think it's decidedly worse than the last one. But I'll still play it in all my decks.
All right, the Defiler. Let's see if the black is indeed the worst. For 4 mana, you get a 4/4 with First Strike. It makes all of your red spells cost up to 1 red less if you pay 2 life for them. And then whenever you play a red permanent, Defiler deals 1 damage to any target. This is the second worst. I think the black is still worse.
The black is worse.
This is the second worst?
I think so.
I just gotta say, though, it gets brownie points for being a kavu, because kavus were what was, like, in when I started playing Magic, and so it makes me happy in all my squishy places to see a kavu.
It's also kind of like the completed version of Flame Tongue Kavu. It's got the same like expression with the mouth open, but instead of shooting a fireball, it's tearing a piece of wall out and throwing it at them.
It even has the same like body like pose of Flame Tongue Kavu, which is literally the kavu that like I played with a ton as a kid. That was like I had so many and I liked him.
Yeah, I mean you gotta love the callback to FTK, but there are, as we talked in the black one. There's a lot of X1, the black set review. There's a lot of X1s in this format, so I think this is going to play pretty well. But it probably is still the second worst of the 5.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's still good. I mean, it's still a good bomb
very
rare.
Good, yeah.
This is a 4, regardless. Don't get me wrong. We're just talking about not game-ending 5s here when we say we don't like this card.
Degrees of bomb.
Yeah, degree of bomb. This is bad bomb.
Yeah.
But bomb nonetheless. We're going to give it a 4. Dragon Whelp, we have a 4-mana 2/3 with flying that has what appears to be fire breathing with maybe a lot of text I don't want to read, but one red for Dragon Whelp gets +1/+0 until end of turn. If this ability has been activated 4 or more times, then sacrifice Dragon Whelp at the beginning of the next end step. All right, so you can go hard if it's the last hit. Otherwise, you just make it a little baby. 5 powered flyer, so you don't have to sacrifice it, and you just dome them a bunch. Yeah, this is fine. I like this.
Yeah, this is like a 5/3, 5/3, 5/3, 12/3.
Yep. Also, I like the art, like the little baby dragon on his shoulder, sort of like a falconer. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I definitely like that. We have a kind of a, and maybe this is intentional with the Phyrexian invasion, but a lot of different art styles in this format, or in this set.
Absolutely. What do you like this rating-wise?
I think I like this card at like a 3. I'm torn between 2/5 and 3.
I was also leaning up towards a 3. I think it's better than a 2/5, but it's still probably... You got to put quite a bit of mana in it to be getting big hits, but I think it's fantastic. So I'm going to give it a 3 as well.
The other great thing with Dragon Whelp is this is actually a reprint from Alpha.
Oh, yeah, someone did mention that.
But the fantastic part about it is if you just look at the way they had to word cards back then, where it's just like red +1/+0. If more than red is spent in this way during one turn, Dragon Whelp is killed at end of turn.
You know what'd be really cool is to do a short video with all of the callbacks in this set, because there seems to be a lot more than normal, and kind of look at those cards side by side, look at the wording, look at like Flame Tongue Kavu, how all of those things sort of transformed into those. But that's a conversation for another video. But that would be a fun video, I think.
I agree. I think that would be fun.
Great. It's settled. We'll do it. The Elder Dragon War, guys. 4 mana for a saga with read ahead. Means you could start on any chapter. The Elder Dragon War deals 2 damage to each creature and each opponent. Chapter 2, discard any number of cards, then draw that many cards. Chapter 4, create a 4/4 red dragon creature token with flying. It's a 4/4 flyer for 4 mana. I'm in. Chapter 3 is playable all by itself, and then you can maybe do some extra stuff if you need it. If not, that's fine. I'm still playing this for a dragon.
Yeah, if this just didn't have the first 2 chapters, it would still be great.
Yep.
Sometimes chapter 1's going to be good. Sometimes it's useless, so you just skip it. Sometimes 2 is good. Sometimes you will skip it. But you're always going to get that token at the end, so...
Yep, feels good to me. I mean, if it's redrawing 2 lands at the end and making you a dragon, like that's some big upside. If it's just making you a dragon, great. It's strong as is. Probably a 4 for me.
Yeah, I think it's a 4.
Electrostatic Infiltrate, 2 mana for a 1/2 with trample. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, put a +1/+1 counter on this. It's a counter. It's not until end of turn. Normally it's like, what, +2/+0 until end of turn or something?
Yeah. Your Kiln Fiends.
I like it. This card is fine. I'm happy to play this. There is a pretty strong is it spells deck, and this is going to fit very happily in that. But even if I'm, red-black, you're going to have a decent number of removal spells anyway. So even if you're getting 1 or 2 triggers off of this on average, that's more than enough. You really only need the one.
Yeah, this is probably a card you'll stay away from in red-green and maybe red-white. Red-white depending on how many tricks you're playing, but definitely in red-blue and probably in red-black, this is going to be good.
I've had like some really aggressive green reds where you have a lot of pump spells and fight triggers and like run amoks and things. And I feel like this fits very well in that home. But I agree, it's mostly going to be is it. But, really, if you're getting 1 trigger on this consistently, probably 5 to 6 instants and sorceries, you're getting a great rate creature. A 2/3 trampler for 2.
Yeah. You just mentioned run amok just to annoy me, right?
Yes. Okay. That is. I literally sent him a foil run amok that said I win on it. Fires of Victory, 2 mana for an instant with a kicker of 2 and a blue. If the spell was kicked, draw a card. Fires of Victory deals damage to target creature or planeswalker equal to the number of cards in your hand. Okay, so it is likely gonna average 2 mana, deal 3?
Yeah.
Like, it's a terrible top deck, but early game, it kind of kills just about anything. And if you're in blue, you're far more likely to have cards long term. Kicker, we've already talked about it being kind of a slightly slower format as far as, like, having card buildup.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? Like the opposite of, what was the Strixhaven card? Was it Flunk?
Mm-hmm.
That I guess that was your opponent's hand, not yours.
Yeah. Similar, though. Like, I agree, that's got the same sort of vibe in it. And also, Flunk was like, it was better when they were depleted, right? This one's worse.
It was the opposite.
So it is the stone cold opposite. I think it's fine. If you're in blue, it's great. It also draws a card, which is cool if you're in that color. So it's probably like a 3 on its own. In blue, it's probably close to premium removal.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's probably like a 3 and then a 3/5 in blue.
All right. Flowstone. We have a 1 mana instant. Target creature gets +2/-2 until end of turn. I don't love these, but they work as basically a shock / a game ending like punch. Not punch, but like you get to do a little extra damage with your bigger creatures. I love the flexibility on these. Now, you can't shock a creature that has damage on it like you normally could, so it loses its flexibility as far as like a shock would for killing things, but it just kills small stuff. And then sometimes you just hit things or trade up. So it feels fine to me.
What do you mean by you can't shock something with damage on it? You can just reduce its toughness and it'll die to the damage on it.
Yes. There are some situations where you might not be able to use it like you would a shock. Whatever that may be. Right? It is instant speed, like shock, which is really good. Usually these sometimes won't be instant speed.
Yeah, or sometimes they're enchantments.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, for all intents and purposes, this is a shock, except it can't go face.
Yeah.
And it kind of can if you're pumping your creature.
It does also get around indestructible, a little less relevant and limited, but that's a good note as well. Yeah, I think this is fine. I tend to run these sometimes just if I'm a little light on removal, but it's like a 2/5. I think it's equal to a shock, flexible in different ways.
Yeah, I think 2/5's right.
You can't go face, but you also can pump your creature and hit them sometimes, which is cool. Flowstone Kavu, we have a 3 mana 2/3 Kavu with Menace, and for 1 red, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Great, I like Kavus. I'm probably going to be like a 0.5 point high on Kavus just because I like them, which is not very good for my ratings, but like I just love them. I can't help it. They make me so happy.
Yeah, I've always kind of liked this Flowstone ability, the +1/-1, that they built in from Tempest.
At the end of the day, it's a 3 mana 2/3 with Menace, which is above rate anyway. I'm usually giving this a 2.5 anyway. It's got a little bit of a weird fire breathing on there, threat of activation for trading up and just dealing extra chip damage when needed. Also, like, if it's got menace, they can't block with 2/3s without losing both of them, because you can activate, right? Which feels pretty strong.
Yeah. I want to just correct something being said in chat. That is... Oh, okay, yes. If it's indestructible, that's right. Okay, it got corrected before I could.
What happened?
There's a comment in chat that if they have 3/3 that's taken 2 damage, the -2 toughness won't kill it, even though it's showing as 1 toughness. It will, but then he corrected it to say that if it's indestructible.
Ah, yes. All right. Kavu, I think this is like a 2/5. I think it's pretty solid.
Yeah, I think it's a 2/5.
All right. Furious Bellow, 2 mana for an instant. Target creature gets +3/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn. Scry 1. What? Isn't this already a card? What happened to Sure Strike? Does Sure Strike scry?
No, I believe it does not.
Oh, okay. So the power creep is just real. I like scrying. I like Sure Strike. It's a decent deck, a decent card in as a 1/of 23rd playable in any red deck. But also, it is very good in some aggressive decks that Yanks will never play.
Correct. Again, this is a playable card for everybody but me. So it's probably like a 2.
Yeah, it's a 2. The right deck will want more of them. It'll play closer to a 2/5. So I think it's fine. Gitu Amplifier, 2 mana for a 1/2 with kicker, 2 and a blue. For when it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, return target creature and opponent controls to its owner's hand. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. So it gets bigger. It spells. I don't think I'm ever running this in not blue.
Yeah. I'm not either, because you would want to be heavy instants or sorceries, and that probably means you're blue.
I guess maybe I'm running this in the mono red triple Furious Blows deck.
Sure.
Right? Like, I guess there is a world where you just kind of want to, like, aggro them out in a bajillion with, like, the dwarf, 2 of these things, a bunch of Furious Blows. Yeah, I think it's fine. But it's not great in the average deck. This is like a 2 for me.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good, actually, I think, in red blue, but otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, the average deck, 2. You'll know when you want it, and if you happen to be in red blue, I think it's going to be quite powerful.
Agreed.
All right, we have a Goblin Picker, 2 mana for a 2/2, 1 red, tap, discard a card, draw a card. I like it. I like a little rummage action on a Goblin. This is solid. I think this is, on rate, it's a filler 2/2. It's a relevant creature type. There is a Goblin Lord in rare, so maybe that will be relevant sometimes, especially in your sealeds. Look out for this. This is like a 2/5 for me.
Yeah, rummaging's nice. It's obviously not as good as looting, but it's still good.
Hammerhand, 1 mana for an enchant aura. When it enters the battlefield, target creature can't block this turn. Enchant creature gets +1/+1 in haste. It doesn't seem quite impactful enough for me to be happy about this.
Yeah, I mean, this is a reprint, and I seem to remember it being all right when it was last in Limited. Can't quite remember what set that was. I think it was a core set.
I'm so greedy now. Like, Sticky Fingers was dope. Like, not good in every deck, but, like, made treasures and did, like, way more stuff than this. I don't know. I'm not very high on this. It's like a 1/5 for me.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to want it very often. You're going to want it in, like, that mono red deck you were just talking about with Gitu Amplifier, where you can pump it with your Furious Bellows and then play this. So their 1 blocker can't block it.
Yep.
But, yeah, I think it's a 1/5 with niche applications.
Hurler Cyclops, 5 mana for a 5/4. 1 mana, sacrifice another creature. This deals 1 damage to any target. It's fine. It's a big dumb idiot. I play 5 mana 5/4 sometimes. And if they remove your other thing, you can sacrifice it, ping them. You make some tokens in Boros, ping their creatures to death. Yeah, this is okay. I think probably leaning to a 2/5.
Yeah, I like this card. This is the one of the payoffs for the sacrifice. I mean, is that black goblin that he's throwing?
I think so. Cute. It is throwing a little goblin. Yeah, if you've got sacrifice synergy, this gets a lot better, certainly. If you have a lot of creatures in token generation, it's going to get a lot better. If you're Boros, I think this can play much, much better. But I think your average deck, it's just fine.
Yeah, there is a threaten effect in the format at common, so steal it and pay one more to sacrifice their thing after they attack. If you attack with it is nice.
Yep.
And I mean, it's got great flavor text, so it's got to be good.
It's my fault, really. I told him to throw anything he could find at the enemy. Nice. I'm going to let you take the next two.
Hurloon Battle Hymn. 2 and a red for an instant with kicker white. Hurloon Battle Hymn deals 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If the spell was kicked, you gain 4 life. So 3 mana, deal 4 for something, and if you want to kick it, it turns into War Leader's Helix.
War Leader's Helix?
Yeah. That was in one of the Ravnica sets.
Yeah. Yeah, this is fine. 3 mana, deal 4 at instant speed. I'm into it. And then if you happen to be in white, awesome. What do we think this is? Premium removal? Is a 4?
Yeah, I mean, instant speed 4 damage for 3 with some upside in Boros. Yeah, I think it's a 4.
All right, I'm into it. Next.
Enthrall to the Pit. 3 and a red sorcery with kicker 2 and a black. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gets haste until end of turn. If the spell is kicked, sacrifice that creature at the beginning of the next end step.
Okay.
If you're in red-black, you're probably hoping to have another way to sacrifice that creature.
Agreed.
For value. But the fact that it does come with a built-in one, late in the game if you don't happen to have one, that's nice. It's a nice bonus for the threaten.
And we are seeing a lot of pay 1 sacrifice for a benefit, to fling it for 1 damage, to get +2/+1, whatever the case might be. So I don't think it'll be tough. I will say, 4 mana steal spells tend to be a little bit slower and tough to sacrifice things with. And they don't tend to make the cut as well as what we saw with like AFR, where the sack was free, the spells were cheap, and they just went crazy. So this is a fine, it's good in a deck. A very aggressive deck might play with this as a top end as well, just to remove that last blocker and get in some extra damage for lethal. But I think the average, it's probably a 2/5.
Yeah, I think if you don't have a reliable way to sacrifice this, which means also being in black, it's probably just a 2.
Yeah, I agree.
If you do, then it's a 2/5, and it can probably get up to a 3 with enough synergy.
This is one of those cards where, again, you're just not playing these if you're not in the kicker color. It's not powerful enough on its own, and I think that's been the case with more than half of these cards.
Yeah.
All right. We have Jaya's Firenado. 5 mana for a sorcery, deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Scry 1. 5 mana, deal 5 at sorcery speed. We see this quite often. We got a little greedy or a little spoiled with the instant speed ones lately. But oftentimes those were double red, so a bit harder to cast, and they didn't scry. So this is fine. It's like a 3. You're usually playing one of these.
Yeah, I like these better when they also had, like, instead of scry 1, it was like deal 5 or destroy target artifact. Where you got to freely put that effect into your deck. But scry 1's still good. All
right, Jaya, Fiery Negotiator. 4 mana for a 4 loyalty planeswalker with 4 activated abilities. +1, create a 1/1 red monk with prowess, -1. Exile top 2 cards of your library, choose one of them. You may play that card this turn. -2, choose target creature an opponent controls whenever you attack this turn. Jaya, the Negotiator, deals damage equal to the number of attacking creatures to that creature. That's pretty cool. Especially if they have 1 blocker and you get to alpha them, right? And then kill their blocker, which is cool. -8, you may get an emblem with whenever you cast a red instant or sorcery spell, copy it twice. You may choose new targets for the copies. I like it.
Yeah, it makes a creature, get some card advantage. Removal part of this isn't great, but it will come up and be useful.
Yeah, if you're in, Red seems to have a lot of goblins and go wide stuff if you happen to be in Boros, so you're going to be loving that -2 ability, and it feels pretty good. But yeah, I think just the +1 and the -1 I'm pretty happy with. This is a 4 for me.
Yeah, for people in chat that are asking, prowess is it gets +1/+1 when you cast any non-creature spell, not just instants or sorceries.
The arena babies. You guys are so cute.
Yep.
Yeah, so prowess is any non-creature. So we actually have Soulscar Mage on Arena now, so that is one of the other times you guys have seen prowess. The D&D set, I believe, did have the monastery. No, it wasn't D&D. It was the Devil Masters had Monastery Mentor that came back.
And Swift Spear.
And Swift Spear, yeah. So this is a 4 for me.
Yeah, I think it's a 4.
Keldon Flame Sage, 3 mana for an enlist human shaman. It is a 2/3 at its base, and when it attacks, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the power. You may exile an instant or sorcery card with mana value X or less from among them. Put the rest onto the bottom in a random order. You may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost. Sweet.
Yeah. Another one of actually good enlist cards. It's interesting that whites are all terrible and reds are good.
And red are almost all good. Real quick, D-Train, if you missed it, check out the introduction video on the YouTube channel. We go over all of the new and returning mechanics and talk about all of the Dominaria stuff, like themes and mechanics and all that stuff. So, yeah, I think this card is good. It's I like getting free spells, and Izzet is going to love this card. Absolutely. Probably... I mean, its power level is going to range wildly based on the instants and sorceries, but I would say on average it's going to be at least a 3/5.
I think it's going to play like either like a 3 or a 4.
Yep. That is the average of a 3/5.
Yeah, I think it's going to play more. I think there'll be more decks where it plays like a 3, though.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's only going to be really good in red-blue. But it's still good in the other decks.
I don't know. Even red-black with like some black removal spell. Mwah, I'm into it. There's also a lot of playable spells in this format, way more than normal, right? With all the kicker spells that are going around, 1 mana plus kicker, whatever. I feel like instants and sorceries are going to be a lot more common here.
Yeah, it's just a lot of times in the other colors, some of them are stuff you don't want to be playing then.
Keldon Strike Team, 2/3 for a human warrior with kicker 1 and a white. When Keldon Strike Team enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, create 2 1/1 white soldiers. As long as Keldon Strike Team enters the battlefield this turn, creatures you control have haste. Huh. So it is a 3/1 for 3 haster, and then if you kicked it, it makes them bigger. And also this plays really well with that big cyclops that we were talking about, which is why Boros is really good with these sack mechanics and go wide stuff that red is trying to do. I think this is really cool. We've seen a card like this that like stole a creature and had haste or something like that at like a similar rate. And this adds bodies instead of the block removal. So it's fine. I would probably say this is not really playable outside of white, but if you're in exactly Boros, then I'm happy to play this at like a 2/5.
Yep, exactly. I'm not playing this anywhere else.
Lightning Strike is a reprint, 2 mana for deal 3 damage at instant speed. This is a 4 for me.
Yep. Simple card, reprint, 4.
Maria's Outrider, 5 mana for a 4/4 with reach. With Domain, when it enters the battlefield, it deals damage to each opponent equal to the number of basic lands among basic land types you control. Great. It's going to deal 2 damage to your opponent, minimum, and it's just a 5 mana 4/4 reacher. I'm into it.
Yeah, and it's good in 2 HG.
Yeah, this is it's maybe not quite a 3. It's a little pricey for a 4/4, but the reach is really nice. I think this is a 2/5 leaning to a 3.
Yeah, and this is our leading candidate so far for Sneaky Reach.
Yeah, Sneaky Reach. Let's go. Molten Monstrosity, 8 mana for a Hellion 5/5 that says the spell costs X less, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control, and it has trample. So let's say on turn 4, your best case scenario was like a 4/4. Best case, it's probably a 3. So this costs how much? 5? So this is probably going to come down on turn 5?
Yeah, the one... I guess I'd have to look at the exact cards, but Enlist could change that a little bit.
Ooh, that's true. So on you play a 2/2, and then you play a 2/2 on 3. On 4, you attack.
Yeah.
For 4?
You attack for 4, and you get to play this afterwards. As long as it doesn't die. As long as it doesn't die.
Yep. That's cute, but it is very specific. You need 2 Enlist creatures. You need to be able to attack cleanly. Your best case scenario is it's coming down on 4, and then it feels really strong. But I think it will be moderately easy to get it to come down on 5. You just play a 3-powered creature at some point between, 2 and 4, and you're fine. Which 3-powered 4 drops aren't hard to find. So do we like 5 mana 5/5 tramplers? Yes, I think we do. So this feels like a 3 to me?
Yeah, it's can be both better and worse. So that probably averages out.
Okay, this gets a 5 for art. Phoenix Chick, a 1 mana 1/1 with flying and haste, and it cannot block. Whenever you attack with 3 or more creatures, you may pay 2 red. If you do, return Phoenix Chick from your graveyard to the battlefield, tapped and attacking with a +1/+1 counter on it. So it's good for black-red sacrifice. It's also good for some aggro, and also it's just good because it makes you happy.
Yeah, how do you follow up that, like, Hellion with spikes with something like a Kavu running away from it with this cute chick?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like this has to be Phoenix's new mascot.
Well,
one of our moderators. I'm gonna buy her a print of this. That's just decided. It's adorable. That said, if I'm not in a sacrifice deck, I don't know how. It is a 1/1 flyer with haste. I mean, I guess that's fine. Yeah, this is okay. I think it's like a 2/5.
Yeah, it's a 2/5. It's kind of annoying that it comes. It's annoying to play against sometimes.
All right, Radas Firebrand, 2 mana for a 3/1. Whenever it attacks, target creature defending player controls with power less than can't block this turn. With Domain for 6, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each basic land among basic land types you control. So it probably costs 2 less. So this is for 4. You can give it +2/+2.
Yep.
And late game, you can do that multiple times. That's not that outrageous to do twice.
You can only do it once each turn.
Oh, I just stopped reading at that point. It had too much words. Okay, well, you can only do it once. Yeah, it's okay. It's very aggressive, which I like, and it makes it so that way some things can't block, which is really cool. You get in a lot of early chip damage, and then they have a little bit of trouble stabilizing, and one creature can't block for those turns. I think it's fine. I think it's like a 3.
Yeah, it's 2 mana 3/1 with some upside and some relevance in the late game.
Great. Rundvelt Horde Master, 2 mana for a 1/1. Other goblins get +1/+1 when it enters. Whenever Rundvelt or another goblin enters, you control dies for the love of Jiminy Christmas. Exile the top card of your library. If it's a goblin creature, you may cast that card until the end of your next turn, which is really cool. Yeah, this card seems good. There seems to be a little bit more goblins support here than there was in some of the other lords.
It kind of feels that way. There has only been 1 goblin.
Huh?
There are 3 red goblins total.
Boo! And there's 1 black? 2 black?
Yeah. At least the 1. Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head. And 1 of the 3 red goblins is rare.
And this one's not even a bear on its own? Boo, I wanted this to be better. Fine. It's like a 1/5.
Yeah.
It's like a 1. It's just a 1. You're not going to get enough goblins.
Yeah, it's going to be good in other formats, but not this one.
You broke my heart, Legacy Goblin. All right.
This next card's good, though.
We have the Shivan Devastator, X and a red, Dragon Hydra. Because what's worse than a dragon? A dragon with more heads.
Why not?
Flying and haste. Okay. It enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 count. What the Jiminy Christmas? So you just play this on 5 and you dome them for 4. Feels great. 4/4 flying haster for 5. Great. Or you just kill them on turn 10 for no reason at all. Okay,
I've got nothing in my hand. Oh, I hit you for 9. What?
This is okay. This is just a 5 because it has haste, so it's going to do something the turn it comes out. You just play it at a safe time. Fine. Mythic's doing mythic things. I'm going to die to that card. I'm going to be so salty about it. They're going to top deck it. I'm going to have them right where I want them, and then they're just going to be like, shiving you for 9, and I'm going to cry to sleep. Ugh.
And be haunted by dragon hydras.
Yeah, so dumb. Smash to Dust, 2 mana for a sorcery. Choose 1, destroy target artifact, destroy target creature with Defender, or Smash to Dust deals 1 damage to each creature an opponent controls. 1 damage to each creature an opponent controls actually might be pretty relevant in this format. I don't know if artifacts will be relevant, but I like those sort of dual-sided cards. Certainly a sideboard card, but not something I'm going to be playing main deck very often.
Yeah, I don't think any of these are good enough to where you want to put this in your main deck, but it's a nice sideboard card to have.
I do think this will be sided in a lot more than most sideboard cards we've seen so far this entire time.
Yeah, really only for the last ability, but yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Sprouting Goblin, 2 mana for a 2/2 with kicker of a 1 green. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, search your library for a land card with a basic land type, and then reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. And you can pay 1 tap, sacrifice a land, draw a card. Oh, that seems sweet. Late game, I don't want lands anyway.
Yeah, and if you're playing red-green, you can find an extra land that you don't want to get rid of.
Yeah, this card seems great. I'm really into this. It's a bear early that then gives you some decent card advantage. I'm into it. I think this is like a 3. I'm a little high on it.
Yeah, I think I have it as a 2/5, but it if you get into one of those really long late games, it'll play up.
Absolutely. All right, Squee. That's a lot of words. I'm going to let you take it.
Squee! Squee, Dubious Monarch. 2 in a red for a legendary Goblin Noble. It's a 2/2 haste. Whenever Squee attacks, create a 1/1 red Goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking. And you may cast Squee, Dubious Monarch from your graveyard by paying 3 in a red and exiling 4 other cards from your graveyard rather than paying its mana cost. So it basically has the ability from Theros.
Yeah, not monstrous. I know what you're talking about. I can't think about it. What is it? Yeah, Escape.
Escape, yeah, Uro.
Okay, yeah, so it's got Escape. It gets a little bit more expensive, but it makes more goblins. It's a 2/2 haster for 3. It's fine. It's okay. I like this. It gives you more sack fodder, which we kind of want to be doing in this color anyway. What do you think rating-wise?
It's kind of like a Rabble Master or a Legion Mentor, whatever that card. I can't think of its name already.
Well, there was a 3 mana 2/2 that didn't have to attack to make the thing. No, this one does.
Neither one of those has to attack, but this one also has haste and it can come back.
Yeah.
So the attacking part isn't as bad. So it's definitely worse than like Rabble Master.
Yeah.
But now stupid red legacy decks are going to have 12 of them.
This is still a 3/5 for me.
Yeah, I think that's right. Anything that can recur and get some extra value for, a little bit overpriced cost, that's fine.
This will play worse in a slower deck, and it will just be pretty underwhelming, but that's okay sometimes. Temporal Firestorm, 5/5, with a kicker of 1 in a white and or 1 in a blue. Choose up to X creatures and or X planeswalkers, where X is the number of times this was kicked. Choose those permanents phase out. And then it also deals 5 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. So it is... I like that it's creature and planeswalker, so it's sort of burned down the house. But you can phase out your own creatures, which is really cool. Save your best stuff and not have them die. That's really nice. I like it.
Yes, it's a 5 mana board wrath, a 7 mana save 1 thing, 9 mana save 2, if you're in the right colors.
Yep. I'm playing this even if I'm just in red,
Yeah.
which is fine. So this to me is like a 4.
Yeah, I think you're mostly going to be casting this as a 5-drop. Casting this 4/5 more often than for anything else in this format.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think it's a 4.
Thrill of Possibility. 2 mana for as an additional cost. Discard a card, draw 2. Feels fine. I like these at instant speed. You get to redraw late game. Gets instants and sorceries out of your into your graveyard, which some cards we've seen want. Also triggers putting +1/+1 counters or +2/+0 until end of turn. Very good for the aggressive decks to start pitching those excess lands that you don't need towards the end. It's a 2, but it sees a decent amount of play.
Would you like to try to pronounce the flavor text?
The most delicious ingredients are often the most dangerous to obtain. Oh, it's that thing?
Yeah.
Asmorano. I've never tried this. This is my first attempt to say this card, and I hate you all. It's late. I'm too tired to fight you. Asmorano Marada. I give up. I'm off it.
Asmarana Mardica Daistanaku Dakar.
You missed like 3 syllables for sure.
I did miss one. Asmarana Mardica Daistanaku Dakar.
It's close. That sounded almost right.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know if that's right.
It sounded slightly off because I know people who are like their entire like personality is being able to say that card, and it didn't sound quite right. So close though. Twin Ferno, 2 mana for an instant, choose 1. When you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for that copy. Or target creature you control gains double strike till end of turn. That's sweet. 2 mana copies are usually like not quite playable because the spells, like the cheap good spells, are not as abundant, but getting to also just whack your opponent for an extra 5 damage on the flip side feels good.
Yeah, both of these effects are fine. I still don't think I'm going to probably play this because I don't think either one of them is good enough, but I can actually see myself playing this unlike the copy spells, which almost never get played.
I think it's a 2/5 that will be an easy cut.
Yep. I'm really liking Red's flavor text.
Now I have to go back. More fire? Asked Jaya. More fire. Jaya agreed. It is nice to see a little bit of return of like good flavor text. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Vescino, branch rider, 1 mana for a 1/1 with kicker, 2 and a green. When it is kicked, it enters the battlefield 2 +1/+1 counters on it, and it gets +2/+0 until end of turn for 3 mana. So for 4 mana, it's a 3/3 with a pump ability.
So this reminds me a lot of the black one from original Dominaria. I think it was like Phyrexian Confessor, which was a 1/1 for 1, and you could pay 3 to make it into a 3/3. I think this one has haste, but it was interesting because you should almost never wanted to play that card for 1, and actually giving people the option made it a worse card because people played it wrong.
I don't like this card. I mean, I'd probably play it as filler in green, but if I'm not in green, I don't think I'd play this.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely not playing this outside of Girl.
So it's a 2 for me.
Yep.
Warhost's Frenzy, 3 mana for an instant with 1 black kicker. Creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. If the spell was kicked, whenever a creature you control dies this turn, draw a card. Ooh. Hello.
Yeah, a much better Trumpet Blast.
I will play a Trumpet Blast, but now I will certainly play this Trumpet Blast. Holy smokes. I'm into it. Yes, please, sign me up. This is like a 3.
Yeah, in Rakdos.
Yes. In Rakdos. Again, we're going to have this conversation 1,000 more times. Like, I'm really mostly just thinking of these things as those color pairs. Basically, this is a red-black card in my head.
But this, the only reason I bring that up here is because there are non-red-black decks that would want Trumpet Blast.
I will also play this in Boros and be a little sad about it.
Yeah.
Yavimaya Steel Crusher, 2 mana for a 2/2 with Enlist. You can pay 1, sacrifice it, destroy an artifact. I like free artifact destruction. I don't really like 2 mana 2/2 Enlist, But that said, I like 2 mana 2/2s just fine. So yeah, it's just a bonus. I think this is like a 2/5.
Yeah, we'll have to see when we get to artifacts just how relevant they're going to be, but it's always nice to get to put this in your deck for free.
Absolutely. I'll let you take this one.
Yoshia declares war. 1 in a red saga with read ahead. Chapter 1, create a 0/2 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying named Ornithopter. 2, tap any number of untapped artifacts you control. When you do, this deals that much damage to target creature or planeswalker. And 3, up to 1 target artifact you control becomes a creature with base power and toughness 4/4 until end of turn.
No, thank you.
Yeah, the fact that it makes an Ornithopter is kind of cute, but yeah, this... Unless you, for some reason, have a ton of artifacts in your deck, which I don't expect to be the case here, you're not going to want this.
This doesn't seem like the thing that Dominaria wants to be doing. We're also not making treasures or anything like that, so I'm not into it. I think it's going to be a 1 in the average deck.
Yep, agreed.
All right, and that is the end of our red cards. Yanks, thank you so much for joining us.
Anytime.
Make sure you guys leave us a comment. Oh, sorry.
Nope, you're good.
Yeah, make sure you guys leave us a comment down below and let us know what you guys think of red. Don't forget to go back and check out our other colors, and if you guys are interested in the rest, they should all be out within a day or so. So thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys. I'd like to end this video with a special thank you to those of you guys who have signed up for my Patreon. Without my wonderful patrons, none of this content would be possible. If you'd like to support this content and get your name up on the Wall of Fame, you can sign up for our Patreon by using the link down below in the description. Another way you can support the channel is by using code MNG5 with Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find cool stuff in stock. They have everything you need for Magic, board games, and any of your other nerdy hobbies.